This is an Imperial HoloNet News Special Report with Erhynradd.
Tonight's top story. Brigadier General Tarkin, brother of the infamous Grand Moff Wilhuff Tarkin, was killed today in the conflict that's come to be known as the Erhynradd Mutiny. General Tarkin began his life of public service in the Republic Outland Region's security force. Prior to the outbreak of the Clone Wars, he served as Erhynradd's Minister of Security. With the war's outbreak, he returned to military service, and by the war's conclusion, was a brigadier general in the new Imperial Army, only recently placed in command of the 2nd Erhynradd battle group on the planet Erhynradd in the Inner Rim. After a long string of campaigns, general consensus was that the general was planning to retire his military commission sometime this year or gain an appointment as governor in the near future. Acting as second in command of Imperial Army forces on the planet, he was stationed at the Imperial garrison in the city of Lurfa in the Rahil province. As to the mutiny itself, sources on the ground identified several locally raised regiments of army troopers as responsible for the violence. These were identified as the 7th, 8th, and 9th Erhynradd regiments of the 4th Line Battle Group. These units, all bloodied from anti-piracy operations in the neighboring star systems within the past 3 months, were being prepared for deployment to the Outer Rim. This action, as part of a wide-ranging initiative by Imperial High Command to shore up Imperial outposts on the fringe as a response to growing unrest and an increase in piracy in the outlying systems. The ringleaders, in conjunction with local officials, who will be publicly executed later this evening, began this mutiny with a list of grievances smuggled out directly to the governor's office. The protest included demands for greater pay, more shore leave to recover from exhaustion, and an end to impressment to replace combat losses for all locally raised army units. All of these demands were subsequently rejected by Major General Mercer Howell, the senior army officer in the system, when the demands were passed to him from the governor. Initially, the response to placate these rebellious troops was to have the units divided and sent into the wilderness outback of Rahil province on training maneuvers. This is when earlier today a cabal of officers and NCOs began a coup against their senior commanders. Before daybreak local time, these men had arrested their senior officers and galvanized their fellow Erhynraddi into open revolt. The one loyal element capable of immediately preventing this mutiny was the 10th Regiment of the 4th Battle Group. This was 4th Battle Group's Heavy Weapons Regiment, and once their pickets came under attack by friendly troops, a full-scale battle commenced. The 10th attempted to engage and encircle the 3 rebellious units with its more mobile units. However, with the loss of the Battle Group HQ to the mutineers, this saw limited success due to poor coordination as these loyalist units spread over such a vast area. As a result, these mutinous units began to fleet in all directions to wreak havoc and prevent a concentrated reprisal. As the 10th broke up and different elements moved to engage these retreating units, 3 battalions of the 7th Regiment slipped away unmolested and marched into the city of Lurfa. The units began to assault the city and the garrison, causing massive damage as a result. General Tarkin had a unit of dropships and 2 platoons of Imperial military police dispatched to try and engage the largely disorganized men, but it was enough that 2 regiments of troops and some floating fortresses were deployed from the garrison to try and subdue the mutineers terrorizing the city. It was during these 6 hours that another conspiracy inside the garrison was hatched. A handful of these local officers who'd been transferred to the garrison hatched a plot to attempt to seize the base. Now, with only 2 regiments of troopers guarding the base, they made their move. A group of troopers, technicians, and 2 officers, all Erhynradd natives, burst into the base control room on level 6, and a firefight erupted. The firefight between the mutineers and the loyalists lasted just long enough for the 3 squads of stormtroopers personally assigned to General Tarkin to arrive and retake the control room. However, by then it was too late. General Tarkin was found dead behind a control panel with a shot through his shoulder, where, according to survivors, he took the shot while holding out with his men. The Imperial Star Destroyer dictator arrived in the system with reinforcements. The 1013th Stormtrooper Legion, as well as the 43rd Saligori Lancers, were immediately deployed planetside and were able to put down the mutiny in 12 hours. General Gideon Tarkin will be traveling back to Erhynradd one final time, along with his daughter, Erhynradd Tarkin, who had been residing in the general's villa outside the city of Lurfa. The Imperial Palace issued this statement reading, "General Tarkin died as well as any soldier, defending his command, his soldiers, and his empire. His loss strikes a heavy blow. The galaxy has seen the passing of a true hero." Grand Moff Tarkin is reportedly en route to Erhynradd to attend to his brother and to take his young niece Erhynradd into his care. This has been an Imperial Holovision special report. We'll be right back after the break.